And to me, a mother is someone who loves unconditional, someone who equips her children with skills and abilities and knowledge on how to do life. To me, that's what my mom was and still is to me. And yeah, she also was the one that held it all together.
A mother is someone that cares for children, the ones that she's given birth to, or the ones that she's fostering, or just a single lady, even that is mothering a child, is a mother. And when they care for them, they care for the sick, they care for the whatever needs the child has, clothing them, cleaning for them, feeding them. And one thing I've often forgotten about is that I have an influence on how their life will be, that we are teaching and training them for God's kingdom to be leaders.
Motherhood is the very best kind of hard. I don't know any other experience in life than when the doctor hands you your brand new baby and you were just absolutely in awe of God's grace and His goodness and His existence. Now, I was kind of reflecting on how motherhood gives you this opportunity to realize how much more you can be than you ever thought imaginable. And that goes both in the positive and in the negative. Motherhood gives you opportunities to do things that shock you. It increases your capacity exponentially, and it also puts you almost in a pressure cooker where things come out of you that you never even knew were there, and you realize you need to change. Now, I believe that motherhood is an unbelievably God-ordained thing. And that God-ordained thing that motherhood is not just in growing and raising our children, but it is in growing and raising us. It highlights, like I said, those things in our life that we need to change. It shows us those areas where we need to grow in patience, and we need to grow in grace, and we need to grow in gentleness and all of those good things.
Hi, my name is Lisa Wall, and I was asked to talk a little bit about what it means to be a mom for me, or what I like about being a mom. And for me, being a mom has always been the greatest thing that I've ever been able to do. I love how I'm able to just be the mom for them, for my boys, and to just be able to cook and clean for them. I know those are the things that often go unnoticed. They're not, the great big things that people see and, talk about. But I often think about a quote I once heard, or a saying I once heard, is if you ever feel like complaining and grumbling about the work that we have to do, all the cooking and cleaning and all the things that, we have to do as moms, just imagine if one of those people weren't there that you're able to do it for. And so that always puts it into perspective for me, that it is such a privilege to do that for them, because I would rather do all the cooking and cleaning than to do without one of them. I love the unconditional love that my boys give me no matter what I do, the mistakes I make. They're so ready to forgive me, and yeah, that's just amazing to me. I love all the endless hugs and kisses that I receive from them, and I love that I am able to be the first woman that they love, and probably not the last, but definitely I am able to be the example for them and maybe set a standard for them of what to look for in a woman. And I always love the verse in the Bible that talks about, train up a child in the way that he should go, and he will not depart from it. It might not mean that they won't detour, but they won't forget what we have taught them. So remember that this motherhood thing isn't always easy, but it's the most rewarding. Happy Mother's Day, ladies.
It's pretty amazing, huh? That these ladies, you could see it in their eyes. You could see how much they love their children. Before I start this, there's one mother that's been on my heart for a while. You don't see her here anymore. Her name is Susie Penner, and I want to bring honor to her today. Susie is no longer here with us in our church family, but she is in a location, a cottage, being taken care of. Susie is gradually, over the years, have lost her ability to think as we think. And Susie was a big integral part of this church. Her husband, Abe Penner, also was a pastor, and many of you people know her. I only know her for 18 years. But I see how she loved her children, and how her children loved her, how they honored her. They would take turns while she was getting this disease, and it was taking their mother away. They came around as a family, surrounded her with love, and worked through it. Now, it wasn't easy. There were things that they were maybe afraid of or ashamed of or even embarrassed. But what I saw was children loving and honoring their mom. And when I would see her, she would revert back to German instead of the English. And so when I seen her, she would talk to me something in German, and I know just about what's in a thimble of German. So I would just tell her, sei a Schmuck. So, and she would just laugh, and she'd just beam, and I thought, wow, that was just, if I could honor her that way, that's what I wanted to do. And I want to honor her today because she was a very big part of our church family. And her kids don't have her today. They have the physical body, but they don't have the mom they knew. And we all have been there somewhere when we've lost our moms or we've been through situations. But there's one thing I want to tell you about Susie. She was worried about her babies. As her mind was going and she kind of went backwards in her life, she kept saying about her babies. That tells me that those babies, those grown children, she loved them. So much so that she was looking for them everywhere. So I thought this was the most loving moment. Her daughter, one of her daughters, gave her a baby doll. That might sound strange, an adult having a baby doll. But what I saw, or what I felt, was that, wow, they cared enough to give her something that was so precious to her, her baby. And so now she thinks this doll is one of her babies. You know, it may seem strange, you may seem kind of funny, but it's because she valued her family. And she walks around with this baby doll, and she tries to feed the baby doll, and she tries to show other people about her baby, and I think it's precious. It's sad because of the loss. And we want to stand with the family today and on Mother's Day, that I know it's a loss, but she was a great value here, and your father was too. And so I wanted to honor her today, because I think that is just something that we don't ever want our parents to go through. But I wanted to honor Susie today. So thank you for letting me do that. Well, honor. I have this real thing about honor lately. I go a lot of different places, and I see a lot of different things, and I'm thinking about honor. I had a whole different message planned. I was going to talk about the moms in the Bible. But you know how that goes. God changes something, and honor was laid on my heart, and I'm going, oh no, now I've got to change everything. So I really, really labored over this because I couldn't understand why honor. And honor is a good name in the public, right? It's esteem, it's a reputation. It's showing merit and respect. It's recognition, one who worth brings respect or fame. A credit, so you kind of call it. There's a couple of ways of honoring. We honor our soldiers on Veterans Day. We honor the service that they gave to us. We honor people when they're fallen, our fallen policemen or our firemen. The highest honor in the United States in the military is the Medal of Valor. It's the highest honor you can receive. And I know that medal well because my brother received it. He was on a mission in Vietnam, and it was a platoon, and they were going out ahead of their group. And they happened to hit a couple of landmines, and it blew up the Jeep. My brother was one of the survivors. Not only was he the survivor and wounded, he pulled 3 people out of a burning Humvee. He lost 2 of his buddies that day, but he saved 3. He didn't feel like a hero. He didn't want to be honored. But the military, the Army said, yes, we want to honor you. So there was a ceremony They gave him a medal. I never saw a grown man cry as much as my brother did that day because he didn't think he should be honored. He didn't think he should be alive. That day set his course. He signed up for another tour, got wounded again, received a purple medal, and he stayed stateside the rest of his life. That honor, which was supposed to be so honoring in the Vietnam War, when the soldiers came home, they spit on them. Literally. If they saw a soldier coming and they knew you were in the Vietnam War, people didn't like that so much. They didn't think they needed to be there. Actually, people didn't want to even be in the draft, and they came here to Canada. They wanted to get out of that. But in the Vietnam War, those soldiers, they went off to war because they wanted to do their duty. They wanted to honor the people in that land. They wanted to set them free in Vietnam. And so part of Vietnam is free because of those soldiers. The other part is not, because that was our agreement to bring our boys back home. In the military, in World War I and World War II, we honor our soldiers with the highest awards. They were given parades, ticker tape. Everybody loved them. There were military discounts. People just went up, running up to people and saying, thank you, because those soldiers, they're our freedom today. They fought with their hearts and their souls, and they had honor because they wanted to have freedom. They wanted to keep us safe. And so anytime I go through the airport and I see a military person, I make a note to go up and say thank you. Thank you for serving, and thank you for protecting me. Because I stand up here today, and I feel honored that I can be here, have freedom of speech. I can talk about Jesus anywhere in the world. It's because of men like my brother and other soldiers risk their lives. And so we honor them. But there's a different kind of honor that I want you to think about today. God has put this verse up. Honor your father and mother. And that's our first commandment, right? That they'll be well with you and you may live long on this earth. So if you honor your mother and father, you're supposedly going to live long on this earth. Well, that's not really why you want to do it. You want to do it because God said so. God wants to honor your mother and father. There's a reason for that. He put so much emphasis on it. He used honor in the Bible 355 times. So I think it meant something to Jesus. So I want to talk about honoring. We say Mother's Day, and the husbands will say, well, she's not my mother. Why do I honor my wife? Really, she's not my mother. She didn't birth me. But she is raising your kids, right? She is doing all the things in a mom and a family, keeping them together, just caring for them, feeding them, just like they talked about up there. They get this honor, they get this recognition sometimes. They don't really get what we really want to do for them. See, when your mom washes your clothes, you should be honored. She cares enough to do that. One, she doesn't want you to stink, but she cares enough to do that. She cooks you meals. How many people get your favorite meals cooked by your mom sometimes? I know Erwin always is looking for a matrimony cake, and he goes to his mother because she makes it because I can't. And I'm okay with that. He's honoring that. But there's another kind of honoring a mom. You may not have your mom with you today. You may not had a good mom bringing you up, but God placed moms in your life, women, to mother you, to help you through those stages of your life, because he does love you. And even if your mom wasn't the right mom for you, you still can pray for her and honor her that way. My father wasn't a good father, but I often prayed for him because I wanted to honor him, even though I knew he didn't love me and didn't want me. But God told me that's what I should do. And so that's why I wanted to, when you have a mom or a mom steps in and takes over the family because the mom had passed away, or maybe you have a situation and you've adopted somebody and you're a mom to them and their kids are somewhere in another country. You stepped in because God picked you. You stepped in and you still want to honor their mom. I want to honor my children's mother, Rose, because I am in awe of some of the stories I hear about her. And I love when the kids talk about her in front of me, because I feel then they don't feel so bad, and they shouldn't, because I want to honor her because I'm in her place now raising her children, and that's really an honor and a privilege. But, you know, there's a part of Rose that I don't know if a lot of people knew about it, but she lost some children along the way. And she felt, God laid on her heart, that when some other moms had lost their children, she would go to their houses and she would prepare the baby for burial. Now, what person does that? Rose did that. That's a good mom. See, she felt what it was to lose a child, and she didn't want you to feel that, so she would go to the house, talk with the mom, minister to the mom, dress the baby for the funeral, so that just to the mom, she honored her. She honored her. What a great story that this woman took it upon herself of her tragedy, her loss, that she honored others. That's really what a mom does. You know, moms are incredible human beings if you think about it. They're picking up from the time they have a baby, and it's a little tiny human in you, and you're going, there's no books. Like, you get this human, they put it in your arms, and you find this precious love, and you're holding it, and all of a sudden you're looking for a manual because they start to cry. And then you're looking for the other manual because there's things coming out of that child that you have never seen. And you're going, whoo, does that smell? But you love them, right? You love them in that mess of growing up. You love them through all their trials and tribulations. You're happy when they come to you. Now, I know you guys think, oh, Mom, you're too old, you don't understand. I'm thinking, well, we didn't come out of the womb this age. We came out of the womb just like you did. So we went through some things. And when I tell you, it may not be the same things you're facing today, but is similar. And so I would encourage you to honor your mother by respecting her in some of those things. Because, you know, it just takes a little bit of communication to set straight the atmosphere in the house. You don't have to slam the door because Mom said, get off your phone. You could just gradually say, okay, Mom, you know best. We don't do that. If we're an adult and we're at our mother's house, and I can see in my mother-in-law's, I see our grown brothers and sisters, they're on their phone. And my mother-in-law will say, put that phone down. Okay? She's still mothering. But see, they honor her, they put it away. Honor your mother. There's a reason God put that in there. There's such an incredible journey she goes through. You know, in Psalm 139, you were created in the innermost being, and you were knit me together in my mother's womb. Jesus intimately knitted you together the way you are in your mother's womb, and she carried you. And he chose you. Like God chose you. He honored you with this child. No matter what you've gone through with your child, no matter if your child, whatever disability, he picked you. I often say to Benita, I know that God picked Benita and Rob for their daughter, Jenny. Because it's a mother and she can love on that daughter, and that daughter has brought so much joy to their family. They pick, and I know it doesn't sound like it, doesn't feel like it, but I can guarantee you that God doesn't make a mistake. And even if there is some problems and you don't have a mom that's not been supportive, he's still going to send some other people around you. I'm a firm believer in that. But when God intimately is woven you into the womb, his fingerprint is on you. That's something else. His fingerprint, that imprint on your heart is from God. And as Lisa talked about it, you know, you put these instilled values in your children, and you're hoping that they won't part from it. And I don't believe that they will. I believe that they're covered in prayer, which moms often do. They're on their knees most of the time. In fact, I just was reading a book. This is Darlene's mom's book, and her daughter, one of her daughters, took some time to spend with her mom before she passed on and wrote her story about her life. You know, some of the ways you can honor your mom, have you ever asked her about her life? Have you ever asked what it was like growing up? Some of the heartaches that she experiences that you're going through. Some of the sadness that maybe you think she doesn't understand, how do you know she didn't go through it? How do you know she didn't stay up all night and worry? Or just before she got out of her bedroom, she didn't feel like being a mother today, but she showed up every day, 365 days a year. And say if you're 20 or 30, she's still your mom. And if your mom went on to heaven, you still have her memory to pass down to your children, to your grandchildren. That memory never goes away. You know, I value my mom. I value what she put in me. I didn't always value her. I didn't always value everything. And I'm not trying to put mom on a pedestal and dad low. Mom and dads are equal in my mind. 100% raising a family. But I want dads to honor their moms, to realize that their wives are raising children. Maybe you're busy, maybe you're on the road, maybe you're doing some things. But dads, you could come home. You could help with the laundry once in a blue moon. You could even take out the garbage if your child is not doing that job. You could do some of those things because, see, you set the example to honor your wife, and that boy, that young man, or that daughter will see that example and pass it on to his wife and make a great husband. I watch my sons, I watch Julian and I watch my son-in-laws, how they treat their wives, and they treat them very well. And I'm proud of that. But I didn't do that in my kids. It was their mom who instilled those heart messages, those heart things that takes place in the early stages of the year. I just stepped in and I got to water the garden. But the garden was already planted from her. All her values, all her love, all her attention was put into these children. And now I see that. That's a privilege and an honor. So you want your boys and you want your daughters to pick good people. You want them to pick, I always told my daughter, you need to marry somebody just like your father. Because her father honored me. He opened the door, he pulled out my chair. Erwin pulls out the chair for me when I'm at a table at an event. He opens the door when I think about it and I don't walk through it first. We are capable women of opening doors. But we need to allow our husbands to be able to do that. And boys, you need to do that for your girlfriends. You need to do that really for any woman that you see. Even if you're in a grocery store and you see a woman walk through and she's got her arms full, why are you not opening the door for her? You know, that's respect and honor. And so some of those ways you can honor her that way. You can love on her, and you are setting the course for your children to pick good mates. That's how important honor is. Some of the things that mom do, they're nurturers of dreams. They often serve and encourage, they support their children's dreams, their aspirations. They're cheering them from the sidelines. I know you soccer moms are cheering you because I've heard you cheer your kids. Soccer, volleyball, hockey, especially hockey. You're cheering them on and you're proud and you're so excited. You know, she's a nurturer of dreams. She wants to encourage you to go for the moon. I said to my daughter when she was born, I promised her all these things. She had no idea what I was promised her, thank goodness, because I couldn't keep all of them. But I tried. And the one thing I wanted to do was I wanted her to keep a family. I wanted her to have a mom and dad because I didn't have that growing up. I couldn't keep that promise. But then God gave me a new family and gave me a father for her. And I've been very blessed by that she could call him, and she may not call him dad, but she talks about him as if it is her father. That's respect and honor. And I think that when your mom is nurturing you and encouraging you, is that she thinks that you can do anything. And I truly believe you can do anything if you put your mind and heart and God is in the middle of it. Keepers of traditions. Moms love to keep traditions. Maybe there's certain ones in your family. In my family, it was stockings. In my family, it was, the Advent calendar always had little prizes at the end, and we'd take the Advent, we'd just real excited because we got a gift of chocolate. We could care less What the calendar meant, we were just getting the chocolate. But the traditions that she keeps, maybe it's a certain food that you eat at a certain holiday. I have deviled eggs all the time. It's just something I've always done. And my one son, Orlando, he says he loves them. And so I always think I want to honor him and have them there most of the meals that I can. But, then there's these memories, these little cards you write to them. I have every little card that my child has written me, every little card that my grandchildren have written me, every card that my children have written me in the boxes. When I die, they're going to think, why was she collecting all this junk? Their first ashtray or their first picture they drew. I have my baby's umbilical cord, her first teeth and her hair. It looks like a crime scene if you open up the box. But I'm a sentimental person, and I love that. I love traditions in families. And moms set their traditions. Dads are not so great on traditions because it's not part of their DNA. I think God made us that way. So I think it's so good. And she always strengthens the bond of the family. She tries. She doesn't always do it correctly. She makes mistakes along the way. But her heart is for her family. And she would fight to keep that family together. Then there's healers of the wounds. Beyond anything, moms don't have the training of a nurse or any of these things, but she tries to heal your wounds, even your physical wounds. She has the ability to heal your spiritual wounds sometimes. She wants to take the time to grow you, the time to listen to you. And she sees the wounds so good and so clearly that you don't see. But yet that mom is on her knees praying for you. I'll never forget, my mom was praying for my brother for a very long time. Because after that Medal of Honor, my brother led a very bad life. He hated God, hated people, hated me. Didn't want anything to do with our family. But my mom, being my mom, loved him. She cried many nights. And the day that we were told that my mom wasn't going to make it, I got to spend the whole day with her that day before she slipped into a coma. And she talked about how she failed. She thought she failed, that she so much thought that she couldn't call her son that day that she was dying. She called Erwin. And she said, Erwin, we Gates, Erwin. She loved Erwin. She loved the family. She had pictures of my children, my new children. She had pictures on her refrigerator, and she was praying for them right away. She didn't even meet them yet, but she had pictures of them, and she was praying for them because that's what she did. And she prayed for my brother and prayed for my brother, and she looked at me with her eyes with this twinkle, and she said, Roberta, would you keep praying for your brother? Will you please don't cease? And I said, sure, Mom. I'll honor you. I'll pray for my brother. And I did that. I never got to see my brother again. He actually died, and he disliked me so much, he didn't tell me he died until 6 months later. His wife called me and said that my brother passed away. See, that honor that he was bestowed, he took it the wrong way and used it for a bad way. And he lost everything. But what was sad to me, not that my brother hated me so much, was that I wanted to make sure that my brother was covered in prayer and that maybe someday that he would meet Jesus. I really don't have that assurance that he met Jesus. But I do have the assurance that I don't know if he had a deathbed conversion. I don't know. All I can do is hope that he's in heaven with my mom and my dad. I can just hope that. But I had a dream about a couple of months ago. And on this dream, the phone rang, and I picked it up, and it was my brother. And my brother said, it's okay, sis, I'm here. Maybe he's there. Maybe that was just God. I wasn't even thinking about him. But I thought, my mom prayed. And the only reason, if he made it there, was because God allowed it, and my mother was faithful. She honored my brother to the very end of her last breath. That's what moms do. They're this agents of empowerment. You ever have your mother come around and say, hey, I have a son. He's really good looking, and you have a daughter, Maybe they'd get together. They have pretty babies, No, that you would just want to cringe and go under the chair, right? Erwin does this to Orlando all the time. And Orlando is single, so girls, I'm putting that out there. But no, Orlando is Erwin travels to different places, and he came home from Mexico, and he goes, Orlando, I found a girl, And you know what? I love Orlando. He just gives Dad honor, and he says, really? Tell me about her, So he gives her that time. Some good friends send him pictures here now, but we're always looking for a girl for Orlando. So it's kind of a joke. I'm real serious if there's any single girls, but I'm just saying I do love my son, and I pray. The moment I stepped into this family, I prayed for my grandchildren to have mates, and I prayed for my children to have mates, good godly mates that resembled their parents. I'm sure that Julian's had so much love from his mother that when he married his wife, his beloved wife, that he showed that to her. He loved on her, and he loved on his children because he saw that from his mother. He saw that from his father, that example, that honor. So, they are amazing what moms do. They don't think of themselves. Maybe sometimes they don't even buy their clothes, new clothes. They make sure you have clothes first. Do you know that? Sometimes you have clothes before your mom because you had needs that she valued. That's why we honor our mothers. They're bridge builders. They're crucial about building the bridge, fostering, keeping us together. If you've got to fight, we got to make that apology so you're not going to have that discord. That's what mothers do. So I hope and encourage you today to honor your mother. Not just today. Today is a great day. Honor her every day. Ask her story. Hug on her. We love hugs. We love notes. We love I love yous. We love just to be loved. Your hugs and kisses says it all. The way you raise your families, you give us grandchildren. Love grandchildren. I can spoil them and send them back. Give them all the loud toys that I didn't want in my house. Give them to the parents. So much fun, Julian will just reach over, take the battery out, but, that's okay. I still can give the noise. Honor, honor, honor. So with saying that today, I want to honor the moms here. I want to pray for you and thank you for what you've done in the families. I thank you and honor you today because you are amazing women of God. You know that one verse that talks about Proverbs 31? Well, that verse talks about a woman being this perfect woman, and everybody talks about Proverbs 31. They want to be that woman. But I look at it a different way. I look at it was made, that verse was taken up by a king, and he saw that about his wife, that she had these great virtues and these great values, that he wanted to pass that on, that he put it into the Bible. They say that's King Solomon who talked about his wife. That he honored her so much, he wanted other people to see what he saw. Now, he didn't have a perfect wife. I'm sure that woman had messy dishes, had messy bed, had a bad day with the kids, had a bad hair day, whatever, gained weight, whatever. But he valued her. He valued her enough to put her in the Bible, Proverbs 31. So you don't have to be perfect, moms. You already are. Because, see, you were created in the womb by God. And that fingerprint is on your heart. And that's who you are today. So thank you, moms. Can I pray for you? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this opportunity to have moms here today. Oh, God, thank you so much for entrusting us with them. Thank you for who they are, what they mean to us. And that we never lose sight of that we value them. We value them because they care so much and so deeply about us. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this gift of mothers. In Jesus' name I pray.